Hi guys. You're all enrolled in either shooting sports management or business planning courses here at SDI, and I wanted to take a few minutes to put together a video that will show you just how much there is in the way of online resources that can really simplify a lot of this, at least in terms of general business stuff. Now you'll also have to get hooked up with some specialist FFL software, but that's out there. If you Google FFL bound book, you'll find all sorts of online bound book things. You'll find a whole bunch of resources for keeping track of FFL requirements and so forth. But the following stuff really is general business stuff. I notice people have some trepidations about accounting and whatnot. Well, this online software is really powerful, cheap. You don't have to have a lot of investment, and it can go a long way to get you going. Particularly up front, the planning software, Live Plan, is excellent. And if you follow it through and do all the stuff and take advantage of all the resources, you can put together a really great package to go show to the Veterans Administration, the Small Business Administration, bankers, investors, whoever, to give you some resources and investment and stuff to start your business. So with that, let's dive in and look at these software packages. Hi, it's Dr. G here, and I wanted to take a little time and put together a video to show you some of the tools that are out there for not only planning a business, but running a business. The amount of very cost-effective software that is available out in what is called the cloud, out on the internet, is amazing. It's very sophisticated. You can get a whole bunch of these things to work together. The features of these various systems are amazing. The cost is great. And the big thing is you don't need an IT department. You don't need an IT specialist. You don't have to invest in servers. All you basically need is a PC or an iPad or a Chromebook or laptop, whatever. As long as it's got a browser and can get to the internet, you're pretty much set. So let's look first here at Live Plan. It is a very sophisticated business planning software from Palo Alto Software, which is a company that's been around for quite a while and has a very good reputation. Now, it has a bunch of key features and tool sets. So let's look at this first one, what they call it, the idea to the business. You pitch a one-page business plan doing this. You can put together a quick overview that you can share in a preliminary presentation with an investor or banker or whatever. So we look at this sample here, and we'll open it up, and you can see some of the things. Now, obviously, you're going to want to go to the site to look at this stuff in more detail. You add milestones, key people, all of these things. It'll put together a PowerPoint presentation for you to use with investors and advisors and anybody else you want to share it with. The next thing it has is what's called step-by-step guidance. Okay, it gives you a great planning process to look at and gives you a whole bunch of keys and guidance, what questions to ask, examples from other business plans, and so forth. Excuse me. It will help you put together the financials. You basically put in basic data, and it will do the financials for you. That lets you focus on the important questions. How much of a product will you sell, and so forth. What the average price will be, and then you can put the whole plan together. It'll put together. It'll do the calculations and the financials and all that stuff, so you don't have to spend your time doing spreadsheets and so forth. You see your financials automatically here. You have your monthly sales and your costs, and it'll calculate all of this stuff. And it works whether or not you're selling products or you have recurring revenue from subscriptions or monthly plans, depending on your kind of business, memberships and that kind of thing. Has an extensive online help thing. There are samples, templates, and whatnot for you. To use. Let's look at some of the sample plans here. We've got some real business plan samples for you to look at here. There's 500 of them, all sorts of industries, all sorts of situations. It's going to be more than adequate for a particular business. It does the error-free financials. As long as you put in reasonable data, it's not going to make any mistakes in calculations, and it gives you the financial formats and the financial reports that you need. And it will give you all the standard ones. It'll let you forecast new products and services and revenue and so forth. If you happen to sell something across borders, it'll do currencies and stuff. One of the key things it'll do is give you some benchmarks of financial performance for similar types of business. So if you're going to run a bakery, you want to see, okay, what kind of performance does a typical bakery have? So if you want to check the reasonableness of your assumptions or how well you're doing, you can check against that. And it will help you put together a great dashboard. I'm sorry, not a dashboard, a great business plan. We'll get to the dashboard in a second. Really first-class presentation to show to investors and bankers and the Small Business Administration and whoever has an interest in what your business is going to do. Then it will give you performance dashboards. It will integrate into QuickBooks Online and another program called Xero, X-E-R-O, which is very sophisticated. Take the data out of that for your actuals as you're doing actual sales and expenses and so forth. Bring them into LivePlan, and it will let you look and see how you're doing versus your projections. So I think it's a really amazing planning tool. And obviously it's online. You can have more than one person log in, whoever you want. And here, these are your data. You'll get it out of QuickBooks or Xero or manual entry or whatever. It will give you some milestones for things that you have to do. So it's a bit of a project management thing. Look at pricing here for this. If you do a annual package, it's $11.66 apparently. Monthly package, it used to be $19.95. It says $9.95. That would be for the first month, and I guess $19.95 a month after that. Note that you can do it for 60 days and get a 100% refund if you're not satisfied. And you can change the plan, cancel at any time. So that's the way a lot of these are. The annual commitment kind of thing is going away. So I would highly recommend that you do this kind of thing. Use this when you get to the point of actually doing serious business planning for your business. That's liveplan.com, will take you to the site, and you can see a whole bunch of information about it. And there are some customer testimonials of different types of businesses and stuff, and you can see the logos of some significant companies that have used it. So that's for planning. What do you do if you get to the point you're really having to start to run your business? Well, that's where you get to this. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with QuickBooks Online. There's another one called Xero, Xero, that is getting a lot of attention and seems to be pretty sophisticated. So let's look at the features and tools. It will allow you to accept payments from people. It does asset management, so that would be inventory and equipment and that kind of thing. So you can see that here. Let's go back here. It'll let you accept payments online and so forth. I'll show you some other stuff related to that. It does accept Apple Pay, which is the whole wireless thing. Apple Pay and whatnot are getting to be more and more important. More and more customers or vendors and stores and everybody are taking them. More and more customers want to use it. I find myself going to places that take it just because it's so convenient. So call me lazy, but it's easy to just walk up with my phone or my Apple Watch and have the thing beep at a Starbucks or something, and I'm out of there. Or Walgreens or a whole bunch of other places. Or Best Buy, whatever. So what other features and tools? There are advisor things. It'll connect into your bank to allow you to reconcile your bank account. It gives you a performance dashboard. So it'll look at your debt ratio, your gross profit percentage, all of the key things that you have to do that then you ought to be tracking from a financial standpoint. Oh, let's look here. It's contacts and smart lists, so it'll help you keep track of customers. Dashboard, expense claims, you can keep files and stuff. It will keep track of inventory for you, so you can track what inventory you have. And it'll allow you to do analysis. Look at what are the best selling and most profitable product lines, which is something that obviously you want to do pretty often. Pardon me, I'm answering a little emergency message here. My son's at a swim meet and so forth. Okay, now, why Xero? Well, it's got these features, and it has customization for specific types of businesses. Let's go over here. Retail, high-tech, nonprofit, legal, all of these that you can read about. And if you click on those when you go to the site, it will give you an overview of just what it does there. Pricing, something that you always wanted to know about. Well, okay, the starter one gives you a limited number of transactions and stuff, and it's $9 a month. The standard is you can do any number of invoices and quotes, which is kind of nice. Enter bills, reconcile bank. It'll do payroll for up to 5 people if you want to do that, which is probably okay for a startup. And the premium is $70 a month, which sounds a little bit more expensive. And it will adjust it. If you want to go to 20 people, now it's $90 a month. Okay, you can try it for free. It's a whole lot less expensive than somebody like ADP or having an accountant, bookkeeper do this for you. What you can do with all of these things, all of these accounting packages, is let more than one person in. So you could allow your CPA to go in and look at it once a month to close the monthly books or whatever. Take a look, make sure things are being done right. One of the things that you're going to want to do is have some financial controls. Unfortunately, it's not unheard of for employees to embezzle. I have a acquaintance who has an independent car repair shop who lost $25,000 to what he thought was a trusted employee. Well, you can put in controls in these systems that will prevent people from writing checks to companies that you haven't approved as being a vendor. You can determine who gets to do what in the system. So maybe you don't want to let anybody make payments to anybody except yourself. You can do all of those types of permissions. All the plans give you this. You can get anybody in your team in. You get the financial reports. You get iPhone and Android apps, which is really cool. Lets you watch your cash flow, a real key to small businesses. Connect to bank accounts. Their integration with 500 other apps, which will do things like track inventory, track time that you might want to allocate to a project. If you're doing something where you're going to bill for your time, or you just have done a flat rate project for somebody, you want to make sure that it's profitable by tracking your hours against that. You get the support. You get regular updates, which is another advantage of cloud software. You don't have to worry about updating the software. It's done automatically. You don't pay any extra for it. It's secure. It's all encrypted with this SSL, which is kind of the standard of encryption. And payroll is included in standard premium plans in these states. I'll let you take a look at that. All right. Now, I do want to go back here and look at something. Here, connected apps, mentioned these. Shopify works with it, Billcom, Expensify, for employee expenses if you have to do some traveling or whatever. There are a whole bunch of them. This is just a small example. Look at the app marketplace here. Here's inventory, how you can make payments, customer relationship management. You want to keep track of your customers, time tracking, invoicing and jobs, point of sale. Notice that one of the main ones is Square. It integrates with payroll and HR. It does, if you want to use ADP to pay people and do your payroll taxes and stuff, it integrates with them. E-commerce, it integrates with apps that will tie into it so that you can accept payments online, sell online. A bunch of reporting things for how you're doing. Bills and expenses, debtor tracking, so you can keep track of who owes you money. It will integrate, for example, with Google Suite and Google Drive and the files and stuff. And there are a whole bunch of other things. I would say it's probably difficult to find something that you need to do for your business that wouldn't tie into this. So let's look at the business type for the sake of argument here. Retail, point of sale, inventory, e-commerce. You've got a whole bunch of these things. And they all tie in. You basically give it your accounts and stuff, and it will suck the data out of these things to use. All right. Now, one question is, how do you get the data into the thing? Well, that's these point of sale systems. You have probably seen these square card readers, various places. They have a whole variety of hardware and whatnot that will allow you to take credit cards, allow you to take cash, all sorts of stuff. I've run into some people who say, "Oh man, I don't want to take credit cards on." In this day and age, you have to take credit cards and debit cards. That's just the way it is. We're becoming cashless. All right. So you get the point of sale system here, and you can do all of these things: cards, cash, checks, gift cards, whatever, invoices, real-time inventory management, which would tie into the Zero system and adjust your inventory value. You can swipe cards, so forth. It does work with Apple Pay and Android Pay or Google Pay or whatever it is. Square for retail has some more features. One of the advantages for small businesses, when you take cards like that, you get your money immediately. Usually the next business day, but apparently you can get them, as soon as the card clears, which really helps your cash flow. They've got phone support. Now, think about taking credit cards. You take a credit card, you get the money right away. Typically, your suppliers will give you 30 days to pay, or you use a business credit card, so you're getting all the money in before you have to pay it out. Now, it does some other things. It does customer engagement. It will allow you to do email marketing to customers that you have. It will handle e-commerce. It will allow clients to book online from your existing website or from another free Square site. So if you have appointments in a salon or training or whatever, it'll do that. There's an app marketplace that it will work with. So you have all of these types of things that will work with it. So let's look at point of sale, restaurant management, employees. One of the things that is neat is it will tie into a program called When I Work, which is a really sophisticated, easy to use, cheap way to schedule employees. Hourly employees can go in and nominate themselves for various schedules. It'll keep track, if you need a registered nurse and 2 practical nurses on a shift in a nursing home, it'll make sure you have the right qualified people on a shift. If people want to trade shifts, it lets them do that with your approval. It's just great. The thing is, employees love it because they can log on from anywhere and see when they're working. So there's a number of those. Ticketing and event management. If you're doing some kind of an event, they'll give you tickets. Booking and scheduling. Check front. Schedulicity, which I'll show you more about. It will tie into that. Acuity scheduling is a little different. It'll let clients see when you're available and they can book your time. And again, there's a bunch of testimonials on here. So let's look at the last version of this type of thing that I'm going to go through, and there's many of these. This is Schedulicity. And this is what it looks like from the customer's viewpoint. You go to Schedulicity, or you can link to it from a business website or Facebook page or whatever, or it can get integrated into those pages. But I live in this town here in Troy, Ohio, and let's say I want to find a photographer. Well, here's a list of various photographers in relative close proximity to where I am. Notice they're over here on the map. And if I do peek at this one, I can get an idea of this particular person. I get some details about them. I get services. What do they do? What are their charges? You know, senior portraits, 90 minutes for high school seniors and that kind of stuff. $1,000 for wedding photography for, what would that be? 8 hours, right? Is that right? Yep. 8 times 60 is 480. So it will do that kind of thing. And if I wanted to schedule with somebody, I would go pick the service I want. So I want a family thing, Ashley Denton, pick date and time, and it'll show people when they can do it. And it works the same for other types of services. Let's see, what else would there be? Home repair and improvement. Around the way painting. It's going to work the same basic way. Life coaches. I need a life coach. Tanning, social service, retail sales. Right. So now, let's look at what the business side of this is, what it will do for you. Here are the features that it will do for the business. It'll give you your calendar. It integrates with Square, and you don't have to leave Schedulicity to do that. It'll schedule a class so that you decide that you can have 10 people in a particular type of class. People can join the class up to the limit. Automatically notify people. You can do multi-session workshops if you're going to do that kind of thing. So say you're running a 4-session class or whatever. You can set up those and have people schedule themselves on those. Those automatic reminders. It'll tell you what's going on. And it also sends reminders to your customers. Oh, by the way, don't forget, you're supposed to come to this. It also does email marketing, mobile app, client management. It integrates, it'll book your business through website, Facebook page, your own Schedulicity listing, so forth. Multiple service booking. Somebody says, look, I want to get 2 things done at the same time. This example is a haircut and a style and a manicure, whatever. You can do those things at the same time, and you get great support. The other thing that's kind of neat is if you have open times. If you're running a service business and you have open times, it will automatically send out, if you want it to, notices to your customers to say, oh, by the way, we've got some openings here on these dates, and there's a discount if you come in. Fill up the gaps in your schedule. And it will do a whole bunch of these things for you. I think it's great. So we've looked at planning and live plan to get started and figure out how you're doing. We've looked at Xero accounting software. And live plan will take the data out of that so you can compare actual to plan. We've looked at Square for taking payments and a whole bunch of the other apps will be synced to it, and they can get information back and forth. And then schedulicity. There are a whole bunch of things like that. This is a sampling. My purpose is not to get you to get any one of these necessarily, but just to see the wealth of services that are available out there that will do really neat, sophisticated things for your business at a reasonable cost and free you up to do the actual business, so you're not sitting up until midnight every night trying to do accounting and that kind of stuff. So hopefully that is interesting to you, and you are interested enough to go look at some of those things and try them out for planning your business and then actually running it. So with that, I'll let you go. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, you know how to contact me through discussion boards and email and stuff. And take a look at these. So have a good evening.